giant drawing of an eye, yet it looks more like Saturn and the rings surrounding it. Here's another mirror. Can I go through this? Oh, I can. So I guess I can just loop the loop, loop the loop, loop. So now we're back on this side. I really like this surreal stuff. This is probably my favorite part of the game so far, stylistically. Here, put this key in the piano. The key fits perfectly. I remember some lessons from my youth, but I could not possibly play a melody without the assistance of sheet music. Um, did anyone see any sheet music? Or, well, anyone see like a note or a sheet of paper or anything? Or do I have to go venture somewhere else? Oh, wait, what's this? What are you? Oh, well, great. Looks like a music sheet was left on the desk. Mine! There's something wrong with this music sheet. It's backwards? Does it look better now? No. Huh. Well, I'm guessing that I just do it backwards. It makes sense to me. Melody seems simple enough. I think I could manage to play it. Wait, no. This side first. So C. As I suspected, it's the melody that I heard at Wright's mansion. What is that? It's coming from another place. It's probably coming from the one on the other side of the mirror. Dude, I love this place. Stylistically, this is awesome to me. I love it. Okay, sure. A terrifying shape looms where the piano once stood. It's been pulled on threads like some monstrous puppet. The threads converge on a distant point. Something is taking form there, in the darkness. It's our old classroom. But that shadow, who? This is not possible. The shape's beyond. The light. My fingers. No, do not come any closer. My hand. My hand. Well, that doesn't sound good. There's something on the ground near where the masked person was laying. Is it another piece or is it another mask? It's a fragment. Piece of a Greek tragic mask. So, I can put parts of it together. Use up less inventory space that way. Oh wait, is this a place? It is a place. Was this a place before? There are two curious symbols engraved on the stone. So that's a cartouche, I suppose. I guess you could call it one. Hi there. How are you? A tall figure stands in the woods. I might have taken it for a tree. We're not breathing heavily. Inside, I can see things near the threshold, getting closer and closer. After what happened to Father Glenn, I think they'll shut down the school. Anthony, that thing we saw, I don't know what it was. But what about your father's diary? Myths, legends, superstitions with no basis in scientific observation. Anthony, talk to us. All right. My father discovered several ancient myths pertaining to the Veil. They come from a variety of cultures and hence they take many different forms. But they all say something similar about what resides near the threshold. An ancient being that sleeps within the fog, protecting the door from intruders, a vengeful custodian. But no matter. At any rate, my serum was a failure. We got but a glimpse of what exists out there. Nothing conclusive. But what if the serum had worked? I don't know. As I said, I have no data. And those myths, what do they say? Those tales, they all say that if the intruder got too close and was discovered by what sleeps in the fog, then the custodian would be relentless. It would pursue the intruders and destroy them wherever they might hide. There would be few ways to protect themselves from its rage. That's like a trident kind of looking thing. Am I supposed to be, like, memorizing something with these? Is this Devitt? A shadow strongly resembling my patient stands in the clearing. I can see through it, just like the other shadows. 4 men are making careful preparations. I know not for what. This is Captain Skid. Devitt, are you certain that he can guide us safely through the fog? His results are extraordinary, Anthony. It's the best chance we have of avoiding the gaze of the custodian. There can be no doubt that the captain survived an encounter before. He even kept a companion from harm. We will finally see what lies beyond the curtain. It is time. Alright. So, from what I've heard, there are multiple endings. I'm gonna try and get through both of them, but it might require me to play through this whole thing again. I'm not completely sure. Oh, there was a thing over here. A statue of a mythical creature. Is it a bird with the head of a wolf, or is it a lion? that's all. Thought I was gonna do something cool or find a thingy. An enormous black feather. Mine. Despite its size, it's extraordinarily lightweight. What's that noise? Something's out there. It's getting closer. Is he asleep? He is now. It has been so long. I had begun to lose hope that he would ever awaken. Were you able to speak with him? Anthony, Devitt has forgotten everything. Everything. Good heavens. It may be for the best. Our research is likely to take some time. If he truly has amnesia, his condition will protect him until we are ready. But should we fail? Remember what happened to Hugo? Ashdown entered the Vale in full knowledge of what might happen, and we will succeed where Wright failed. We will use the serum to induce primal terror in a controlled environment. In one stroke, we shall overcome all of our obstacles. But when the time comes, we must have a means of guiding our dear friend back to us. There, he will be safe. Whoa, trippy. There's something on the ground near where the masked person was kneeling. Mine! It's a fragment of the mask. Piece of an ancient Greek tragic mask. A nihilist mask. It is similar to that one that I found on Alexander's safe house in London. Well, then I'm probably going to need to go back to that statue, I would imagine. Maybe? The mask is eyeless. I cannot see a thing. Oh, no. I guess it's a thing I use. Okay. A man is standing next to the open curtain. Yes, yes, that is true. Welcome, Dr. Wakefield. Alexandre Dupree? Yes, I have been waiting for you. We all have. I was in a pit in Nayles Moor, when suddenly I found Devitt, but he disappeared. I journeyed through the fog and found myself here. Alei Schmor. I do not know the name. Okay, so it's Ailish Moor. Many paths in our world lead to this place, Dr. Wakefield, and I know only a few. In some of the xylophone, I keep clicking too quick. In some of the xylophones, something, the truth leaking into our world. And in others, you see yourself. I knew you would reach us at last. He was certain of it. He? The first founder of the Order, the Artifacts. Do you not yet know his name? You mean Mr. Ashdown? No. Hugh came here long before the rest of us, but he made a terrible mistake. He peered into his own truth, and he was transformed. Well, then that would mean that it's... Well, I guess, okay. Do you mean Mr. Devitt? The truth can be hard to accept. Yes, Jeremiah gathered us all under the same rule. Videte ne quizá, see, but no one knows. We knew the final truth which lay beyond the threshold. This is what the playwright was committed to finding. This was Jeremiah's obsession. The first language, which is said to grant the power of creation. After our experiment at school, we realized that the path of the Ancient Ones was watched by a fearsome guardian. We needed a way to circumvent the inexorable gaze of the bird. I found Captain Skid, who had met the bird and lived. We decided to use him in a test. It was a catastrophe. We eventually found the survivors, but their memories were incomplete. Jeremiah had feared the worst. He had been left devoid of any memories that were related to our efforts. We were desperate to find a solution. Hugo tried and failed, and then Anthony and I miraculously came across a formula that had lain forgotten for centuries. At last, it was time to bring Jeremiah back into our ranks. That was nearly a disaster as well. I did not anticipate Anthony's sudden madness, or the extent of Father Ernest's decline. Mercifully, Jeremiah's life was spared, but something else was wrong. When Jeremiah reached me, he did not remember everything. He had changed. He told me that he was going to put an end to all of this. He still means to acquire the first language, but he wants to use it to ruin our work. He has already crossed the threshold. Once he learns the final truth, none of this will ever have existed. The Order, the door, or ourselves. You must stop him, Doctor. You must stop him before the curtain closes forever. Once more, I found myself enshrouded in dense fog. Gradually, the fog dissipated, revealing a busy street in London. Dizzy and exhausted, I wandered the streets until, at last, I returned home. I barely recognized it. I crossed the dusty threshold like an intruder. I noticed for the first time that I was holding the robe of the playwright in my hand. I kindled a fire and threw the robe into the flames. As I watched it burn, I remembered the black ocean. I had stood there, on the beach, staring up at the terrifying heights of the vertiginous Mount Cap. where the verb is set to lie. And then someone touched my arm. It was Dr. Wakefield. Our encounter on the endless dunes had not been an illusion. In its quest to find me, he had ventured into the veil itself. He said nothing, but it was not necessary. He had come to take my place, to sacrifice himself. He stayed behind and closed the door after giving me a chance to escape. His reasons I will never know. I do not know what happened to Alexandre and the others, but I fear that they are trapped in Xylophone for all time. I stared at the endless rain splattering against the window, and I remembered that I had something else to do. A last promise to keep. Videte nequiciat. So does he kill himself after all that? I guess so. I mean, that would... If no one is to know, and he's the last one who knows that's alive, I would suppose he would kill himself. Which means that the whole sacrificing himself was for nothing. Well, then I guess we're gonna go for the good ending. Or try to. Hopefully it's a good ending. I don't know. I have no idea what kind of endings this has. This is definitely a horror game in its like writing aspect. But I don't really feel like if all that was just to create the veil and let them live in whatever that weird place is, then I feel like he did a disservice to his doctor by killing himself immediately after being rescued. Which, as far as I can tell, is what he did. Well, I'm gonna definitely use a guide for round 2. I had to glance at a guide at times to make sure I was doing things right here. Oh, bye, Xander. I had to glance to make sure I was doing things right here because I wanted to try and make this a little bit less messy than the others. But the outro here, I'm not sure what to make of it if that's the conclusion. I mean, it's very dark, it's very fitting for this game. Alright, well I have to see that no one knows you guys, and you all watched, so I'm sorry. But I think you all know what that means. You're gonna have to forget everything. Alright. I'm gonna go try and do round two on this one, you guys. Be right back.